AI just cut 54,694 jobs across America this year, while scientists using AI pumped out 52.9% more biology papers that actually scored lower on journal acceptance rates. And at the same time, Duke researchers built an AI that cracks chaos into readable math formulas, while AI Jazeera rolled out a 6-part AI newsroom platform, and Google dropped their 2025 research report showing quantum computers running 13,000 times faster than regular supercomputers. This is AI's mass reality in December 2025, and honestly, we need to talk about every piece of it. So, let's break it down. Alright, so the job situation is real. According to data from Challenger, Gray, and Christmas, 54,694 American workers got blamed on AI for their layoffs throughout 2025. And total job cuts hit 1.17 million this year, the highest since COVID slammed the workforce in 2020 when 2.2 million jobs disappeared. But here is what makes this interesting. That 54,694 number represents less than 1% of all job losses in 2025. Companies are using AI as the reason, but way more jobs got cut because of restructuring, market conditions, and cost cutting that has nothing to do with AI. Amazon announced 14,000 corporate job cuts in October, their biggest layoff round ever. CEO Ante Jassy said, in October, the cuts were about culture, not AI. But the thing is, back in June, he had warned that AI would mean the company needs fewer people doing same jobs. So while the October layoff weren't officially blamed on AI, the warning was already out there. Microsoft eliminated around 15,000 positions throughout 2025, with CEO Satya Nadella writing in July that the layoffs had been weighing heavily on him amid the company's strategic shift. Salesforce CEO Mac Benioff confirmed in September on a podcast that 4,000 customer support workers lost their jobs with help from AI. He said AI now handles between 30% and 50% of the company's internal work. Workday cut about 1,750 jobs, roughly 8.5% of their workers, while CEO Carl Eskenberg said the layoffs were needed to free up money for AI investment. Now, here is the part that nobody talks about enough. A report from Forrester Research found that 55% of bosses actually regret firing workers because of AI. And they are predicting that about half of those people will quietly get rehired either overseas or at lower pay. So companies rushed to cut staff, expecting AI to replace jobs that current AI models cannot actually do. An MIT study published earlier in 2025 found that 95% of companies that launched AI projects have seen zero financial return on their money. Zero. That means companies fired real people, blamed it on AI transformation, and then watched their AI systems fail to deliver anything close to what they promised. And the pattern gets messier when you look at entry-level roles. New college graduates are finding that the jobs they were expected to apply for have just vanished. Companies are blocking new hires because they think AI can fill those spots, but the AI cannot actually do the work yet. Only 16% of individual workers had what they call high AI skill level in 2025, and only 23% of companies offered any kind of training on how to use AI tools properly. So, companies are firing experienced workers while also lacking the AI skilled workforce to replace them. It's a complete mess. Now, while all that job chaos is happening, scientific research is exploding, but not in a good way. A new study from Cornell University just showed that AI writing tools are making scientists way more productive, with researchers posting up to 52.9% more papers in biology and life sciences after they start using these tools. That sounds great until you see what's actually happening. The study got published December 24, 2025 in the journal Science, and the team looked at more than 2 million papers posted between January 2018 and June 2024 across 3 major sites: Archive, BioArchive, and the Social Science Research Network. Here is what they found. The biggest winners are scientists who don't speak English as their first language, which is actually helpful because language barriers have held back talented researchers for decades. Researchers from Asian institutions, for example, posted between 43% and 89.3% more papers after the AI detector showed they started using these tools. But the problem is that many of these AI polished papers fail to deliver any real scientific value. The Cornell team built an AI detector to flag papers that were likely written with help from large language models. Then they tracked how many papers those scientists posted before and after using AI and checked whether those papers actually got accepted by scientific journals. And here's the shocking part: when papers written by humans scored high on writing difficulty test, those papers were most likely to get accepted by journals. When AI written papers scored high on those same tests, they were less likely to get accepted. That gap tells you everything. The AI makes the writing look smooth and professional, but reviewers can tell that despite the nice language, many of these papers have little scientific value. Ian Ing, assistant professor at Cornell, said it's a very common pattern across different fields of science, from physical and computer science to biological and social science. There is a big shift in the current system that needs serious attention, especially for people who make decisions about what science we should support and fund. And this creates a massive problem for editors, reviewers, universities, and funding agencies because they can no longer judge scientists based just on how many projects they publish. If you are publishing 52.9% more papers, but most of them are junk, then what does being productive even mean? The study also found something interesting about citations. When scientists used AI-powered search tools like Bing Chat, they were better at finding newer publications and useful books compared to old-school search tools, which tend to point to older, more commonly mentioned works. So people using these tools are connecting to more different knowledge, which might drive more creative ideas. But the flip side is that the flood of AI written text for decision makers to separate meaningful work from low value content. It's like trying to find gold in a river that's been flooded with rocks that look like gold but aren't. Now, in the middle of all this chaos, Duke University just dropped something that actually works. A team of researchers built an AI system that takes incredibly complex massive systems and reduces them to simple, readable math equations. The work got published December 17, 2025 in the journal NPG Complexity. And honestly, this is the kind of AI breakthrough that doesn't make headlines but should, because it's solving one of the oldest problems in science. How do you find simple rules behind complicated behavior? The system is based on ideas from the very famous scientists throughout history, studied systems that change over time. Isaac Newton, who people call the first dynamicist, connected force and movement with equations. This new AI does something similar. It studies data showing how a complex system changes, whether that's weather patterns, electrical circuits, mechanical systems, or even biological signals, and then makes equations that correctly describe that behavior. And what makes this different from most AI tools is its ability to handle complexity way beyond human ability. The AI can take systems with hundreds or even thousands of moving parts and reduce them to simpler rows with far fewer pieces. The Duke team tested it on 9 different datasets, ranging from the Van der Pol oscillator to the Massey-Lorentz 96 weather model. And here's the key part. The models they created were more than 10 times smaller than many older machine learning methods, while still keeping long-distance accuracy. That means you can actually understand what's happening instead of just getting a black box prediction. The system uses something called Koopman operator theory from the 1930s, which basically says that complex systems can be represented mathematically by simpler linear models. The challenge has always been doing that at big scale, and this AI finally makes it work. Samuel Moore, the lead author, said, once you find the landmarks, the rest of the map comes into focus. And Boywan Chain, who directs the General Robotics Lab at Duke, explained that scientific discovery has always depended on finding simple versions of complicated processes. We increasingly have the raw data needed to understand complex systems, but not the tools to turn that information into the kinds of simple rules scientists rely on. Closing that gap is essential, and this system does exactly that. It takes a massive double pendulum, tracks its movements, uncovers simple equations that successfully model how it moves over time, and critically predicts how the system will settle into stability. The method works on all kinds of problems: climate patterns, brain activity, mathematical vibrance, anything where you have data but no clear equations. And it's already being used for model reduction, fall detection, early warning signs for big shifts in climate or biology, and even planning expedient where you focus on measurements that expose a system's true structure. This is AI actually helping scientists discover new knowledge instead of just repackaging old information. Now, while Duke is cracking chaos and companies are fumbling layoffs, AI Jazeera just launched something called the Core on December 21, 2025, which is basically a complete redesign of how journalism works using AI. They announced it in partnership with Google Cloud, and this isn't just slapping ChatGPT onto a newsroom. This is a 6-pillar system designed to shift AI from a passive tool to an active partner in journalism. Sheikh Nazar bin Faisal Al Thani, Director General of AI Jazeera, said the network is committed to building a global tech system that keeps it leading in the AI era. The core is where human skill and artificial intelligence work together and modernize journalism. Here is how the 6 pillars work. AJ now is the central news platform, described as the heart of news system. It uses Google's Vertex AI search and Gemini Enterprise to suggest questions, generate story angles, and draft summarizes. AJLLM is the editorial brain, a large language model fine-tuned on AI Jazeera's past articles. It works with Gemini Enterprise for translation and summarization and uses Notebook LM to provide real-time context for journalists. AJ Vision is the creative production hub using Google's AI tools like Imagen and Veo to produce videos and interactive content. AJ Data Lake enables data-driven journalism using BigQuery and Gemini data agents to study large-scale data, uncover trends, and creates prediction charts. The Ops engine focuses on running the business smoothly, using Gemini for workspace to handle internal work, decisions, and communications. And the academic and knowledge arm trains journalists on advanced AI tools using Google Workspace and Gemini Enterprise. Alex Rutter, AI Managing Director for Europe, the Middle East, and Africa at Google Cloud, said, AI Jazeera's decision to build the core is a key step in developing the next generation of smart media. This program uses advanced AI tools to reshape how journalists report and create news and how audiences use it. Together, Google Cloud and AI Jazeera are setting a new future direction for digital journalism. And the timing matters because newsrooms everywhere are fighting with the same question. How do you use AI without losing editorial control? How do you speed up production without losing accuracy? And how do you stay relevant when audiences expect instant personalized information? AI Jazeera designed the core to keep humans in the loop at every stage, from information gathering to content delivery. The goal is to let journalists focus on high-value storytelling by moving complex data processing and work tasks to smart agents. Ahmed Al-Fahal, Executive Director of Technology at AI Jazeera, said the network is committed to keeping pace with the tech advances shaping the media industry. And honestly, this is probably what successful AI use looks like. Not replacing humans entirely, but changing what humans spend their time doing. And then there is Google, who released the 2025 research review on December 25, 2025. And the scale of progress they are reporting is kind of wide. They dropped Gemini 2.5 in March and Gemini 3 in November, with Gemini 3 Flash following in December. Each version showed big leaps in reasoning, understanding different types of content like text, images, and video, moral speed, and creative abilities. But the real story isn't just the models. It's what they are using them for. Google's quantum computing work hit a major milestone when they announced their quantum echoes algorithm running on the Willow chip. The algorithm ran 13,000 times faster than the best regular algorithm on one of the world's fastest supercomputers. That's not a typo. 13,000 times. And 3 researchers who laid the foundations for the technology in the 1980s, Clark, Deverett, and Martinis, became 2025 Physics Nobel Prize winners. That's a 40-year journey from basic research to working quantum systems that are now being used for real problems. In healthcare, Google released messiest, their most capable open model for understanding medical information across different formats. It can handle tasks like classifying conditions, generating reports, or reading complex electronic health records. Since launch, messiest and their Health AI Developer Foundations have been downloaded over 2 million times. They also introduced something called the Open Health Stack at the World Economic Forum, which provides building blocks for developers to create next-generation healthcare apps for use in low-resource settings. That's AI actually addressing healthcare gaps instead of just making rich countries richer. Google Earth AI is a collection of math and AI models designed to tackle global challenges. Their floor models now provide forecasts covering over 2 billion people in more than 100 countries. That's up from earlier numbers. Their wildfire, cyclone, air quality, pollen, and weather models are already helping millions of people worldwide. And they just expanded access to their remote sensing foundations and global population dynamics foundations, which basically means researchers can now understand what's happening across the planet at a level that was never possible before. In genomics, they released a 27 billion parameter foundation model for single cell analysis called cell to sentence scale or C2S scale, built with Google DeepMind. This model recently generated a new idea about cancer cell behavior that, if it holds up in clinical tests, could reveal a promising new way to develop treatments to fight cancer. That's AI going from raw data to actual treatment ideas. And in education, Gemini is now built with LearnLM, Google's family of models fine-tuned for learning. It's being used in tools like NotebookLM, which had 50 million users, and Google Classroom, reaching over 200 million students and teachers. The thing is, Google's report shows both sides of the AI coin. Huge scientific progress, real-world tools helping billions of people, and breakthroughs in quantum computing, healthcare, climate science, and education. But at the same time, we have got 54,694 people losing their jobs to AI that doesn't work yet. Research flooding with junk papers, and companies trying to figure out what AI can actually do versus what they hoped it could do. Here's the thing. Does cure solving AI works because it's solving a specific, well-defined problem. Turn messy data into readable equations. AI Jazeera's core system might work because it keeps humans in charge while using AI to handle the boring stuff. Google's breakthroughs work because they are backed by decades of research, massive computing power, and clear goals like predict floods or help doctors read health records. But most companies firing workers and most scientists flooding journals with AI text. They are using AI without understanding what it's actually good at. And honestly, that's the real story of 2025. AI is incredibly powerful for specific tasks, making simple rules for complex systems, helping non-English speakers write clearly, predicting weather patterns, studying medical data. But it's terrible at replacing human judgment, understanding context, and doing the open-ended creative work that most jobs actually require. The gap between what AI can do and what people think it can do is costing jobs, flooding science with garbage, and making everyone question whether this technology is helping or just creating more problems. That's where we will wrap it up. One thing I'm really curious about is how long it takes for companies to figure out which AI tools actually work and which ones are just hype. Because right now, we're watching a massive experiment play out in real time, and the results are all over the place. Drop your thoughts below. Make sure you are subscribed, hit that like button, and I will see you in the next one.